Some 70s rock songs didn't just climb the charts. They got banned, blacklisted, or bleeped. A protest chorus that rattled a government. A punk single the BBC wouldn't touch. A classic resung just to dodge a brand name. Tonight, we count the 15 tracks censorship couldn't kill. This is Elton at full throttle. Piano pounding, horns punching, chorus made to be yelled from the cheap seats. Written with Bernie Taupin and cut at Caribou Ranch, it's basically Elton's comeback swagger set to hard rock muscle. The Tower of Power horn section blasts through the mix, and Lenny Pickett rips the sax line like a siren. What made it dangerous in 1974 wasn't politics or profanity in context. It was the title. A number of US radio stations wouldn't touch a record that said bitch right up front. By late 1976, Billboard was quoting a New York program director saying flat out they wouldn't play it, no matter how popular they get. Even Elton joked later that some American stations were more puritanical than others. That push-pull only added heat. The single still hit US number 4 and Canada number 1. Did the controversy sell more records? Probably. Question: when you first heard this, did the title make you lean in, or did the riff do all the convincing?
Hey, Rocklore community. Before we continue, let's have a real talk for a second, bro. You know, this isn't just a channel to us. And I hope it's not just a place you come to watch a video and then forget about it. This is a community. It's a place where we get to dig up the secrets of rock and roll, share our favorite riffs, and celebrate the artists who maybe didn't get the love they deserved. Right now, only about 1% of our viewers are subscribed. We can change that together and grow this community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. When you do, you're not just helping a channel grow, you're becoming a member of the Rocklore family. You're signaling to us and to YouTube that these stories matter, that this music is worth preserving, and that this community is a place you want to be. Subscribing is your way of making sure you're always in the loop. It means you'll be the first to know when we unearth a forgotten legend, drop a new countdown, or dive into a piece of rock history you've never heard before. So if you're a true fan of the lore, if you get that same feeling of discovery that I do, then come join us. It takes 1 second to be a part of something bigger.
Can't stand losing you. I can't stand losing you. Stand losing, I can't stand losing, I can't.
A sharp reggae rock groove about a teenager's dark spiral. Melody bright, subject matter bleak.
I can't stand losing, I can't stand losing.
The shock wasn't just in the lyric, it was on the sleeve. Stuart Copeland on a block of ice with a noose around his neck, waiting for the ice to melt. The BBC balked, and the single drew a band tied to that cover.
It's suicide, but I'm too full to swallow my pride.
The song stalled at first, then roared back on reissue in 1979 to reach UK number 2, proof that Forbidden can become free promo. Question: do you hear this as edgy gallows humor or a serious warning dressed in pop clothing? Paul Weller wrote a snarling mission statement for the mod revival, all elbows and attitude.
This is a modern world, we don't need no one to tell us what to do. It's somewhere I want.
On the LP he spits, "I don't give two fucks about your review." But the single recut swaps it for "I don't give a damn," the price of getting a fighting mad track onto daytime radio.
Don't have to explain myself to you. I don't give a damn about you.
Even cleaned up, it still cracked the UK top 40 and carried the jam from club heroes to a national flashpoint. Question: would the original uncut line have helped or hurt its chances today? A campy, clever sprint from jazz, bicycle bell solos, key changes, and Freddie Mercury turning cheek into theater.
Ride my bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle races. Bicycle, bicycle, bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle.
The uproar came with the visuals. Queen filmed a race of nude models at Wimbledon Greyhound Stadium for the promo. The video was edited or banned in several countries, and package art was altered market by market.
Bicycle, bicycle, bicycle. I want a bicycle.
In the US, their label even kept the fold-out poster out of the LP to avoid upsetting retailers. Fans had to send a coupon to get it. It's the perfect 70s clash. Pop spectacle versus broadcast standards. Question: does the song work for you without the scandal? Or did the scandal make the song impossible to forget? 2 minutes of nitro, hook after hook. Pete Shelley sprinting over machine gun drums. The BBC banned it outright for the title and sexual frankness, but the punk scene adopted it as a banner anyway.
Get out to school, kids! Winos and heads of stage!
Even the sleeve was a shock. A Linder Sterling collage of a nude female torso with an iron for a head and grinning mouths for nipples. Punk feminism you could not ignore.
Nobody has!
What the band did was freeze the track as legend. Not a chart monster, but a record you passed hand to hand because radio wouldn't. Question: if you grew up on pop radio, what was the first band song you found through friends instead of airplay?
Just looking at the picture. Well, there goes another one just lying down on the sand.
A prowling bass line, a leering narrator, and a lyric sheet that crashed headfirst into British broadcast standards. Peaches walked the line between satire and sleaze, but the BBC didn't bother with nuance. They pulled it for indecency.
All the skirts, laughing up the sun, flat me up.
A tamer radio version circulated with keywords changed or bleeped, yet everyone knew what the original said.
I can think of worse places to be. Like waiting around in London, hoping to get...
The controversy didn't kill it. The single still became a UK hit, which only proves that scandal can be excellent marketing in the punk era. Question: do you hear Peaches as social mockery, or just shameless provocation that happened to slap?
Hero is something to be. A working class hero is something.
Just voice and acoustic guitar, but it feels like a live wire. Lennon's plain-spoken fury includes 2 F-bombs, enough for some US stations to ban it outright.
Hero is something to be.
In Washington, D.C., an FCC complaint even followed a broadcast. In Boston, WBCN wouldn't play it. And in Australia, the album shipped with the expletives removed and the printed lyrics censored.
Free. But you're still fucking pet.
The song's power is how naked it sounds. No gloss, no filter, just a class critique that stings more because it isn't prettied up. Question: does the profanity make the message stronger, or would the song hit just as hard without it? A stadium-sized snarl with a chorus that actually says it. Who the fuck are you? On the American single, the line was swapped to Who the hell are you? So programmers could blast it without panic. But fans know the album cuts bite, and so do censors. The irony is perfect. A song about demanding answers gets muffled by radio decorum, then becomes a classic anyway. Power chords, Keith Moon in overdrive, and a hook too big to bleep out of existence. Question: when this hits the chorus, do you need the uncensored punch for it to feel right? This video is sponsored by the Lore Store on Amazon, your one-stop shop for music lovers across reggae, rock, pop, and hip-hop. We built it for real listeners who don't want to dig through 1,000 listings to find the right gear. Inside the Lore Store, you'll find 5 aisles. VIP, top, battle-tested essentials. Headphones, turntables, speakers, gig-safe earplugs, smart speakers. Reggae vibe, roots and lovers. Rock made easy, automatic decks, warm bookshelf speakers, vinyl care. Rock lore, classic rock must-haves. Open back cans, simple amps, living room concert vibes. Pop lore, feel-good everyday setups, clean, clear speakers, easy streaming, nostalgia-friendly picks. Hip-hop must-haves, punchy bass without the muddle, closed-back headphones and living room systems that handle low-end, plus a rotating crate of old album vinyl if you're rebuilding a 60s, 90s collection. Every product page tells you who it's for, 3 pros, 1 con, and why we picked it. So you can choose with confidence. Flying soon? Check. VIP for noise canceling that tames plane roar. Mostly listening at home? Try open back headphones that let live albums breathe. Want instant gratification vinyl? Our fully automatic turntable is 1 button from silence to music, and the record cleaning kit knocks down crackle so the bass tightens up. Headed to shows? Grab high-fidelity earplugs. Hands-free at home? Our smart speaker picks let you say, play 70s reggae or classic pop, and you're there. Deal alert! If you use the link in the description, you'll land on our curated picks with current best available Amazon pricing and active discounts where applicable. Prices change, so buy now to lock in today's deal. Tap the link in the description, pick your aisle, grab a favorite, and tell me which category you want me to build next. The Lore Store. Listen better, with gear that gets out of the way and lets the music live.
Said she was good as gold, and he can see no reasons 'cause there are no.
A chilling true story turned into a stately piano ballad.
The whole day down. Tell me why I don't like Mondays. Tell me.
It dominated 1979 UK radio, then years later ran into a different kind of wall. During the 1991 Gulf War, the BBC circulated a list of songs to avoid or think carefully about scheduling, and this title, with its grim school shooting origin, was among them.
And now the playing stopped in the playground now. She wants.
The song didn't change. The world did. That's the strange afterlife of pop. Context can recensor a hit you thought was settled history. Question: is it right for broadcasters to sideline older songs during crises, or should history be played uncut? A Chuck Berry-charged rocker with a title everyone knew but couldn't print, Starfront R. Even retitled on the sleeve, the BBC banned it for obscene lyrics, and the uproar only burnished its outlaw shine. It's Jagger at his most needling and impolite, a reminder that the Stones' danger wasn't just image, it was in the grooves. If you wanted a clean, respectable Rolling Stones, this wasn't your track, nor was it meant to be. Question: do you think the band turned Star into deeper cult legend, or would it be just as notorious on its own? A sly story song that turns a Soho night into a sing-along, Lola rides a chiming riff and Ray Davies' wink and nod vocal. The band had a hit on their hands, but the BBC had a rule: no brand names in lyrics. Coca-Cola tripped the wire. Davies famously flew back mid-tour to recut the line as Cherry Cola, just so radio would spin it. That single word swap didn't dull the edge. If anything, it highlighted how powerful airplay gatekeepers were in 1970, and how cleverly artists learned to swerve around them.
Girls will be boys and boys will be girls.
The song still climbed the charts and outlived the rulebook, becoming one of the Kinks' most enduring anthems. Question: do you think the quick edit helped Lola last longer? Or did the BBC's rule just make the song feel more rebellious? In the weeks after Bloody Sunday, Paul McCartney didn't write a metaphor. He wrote a headline. Wings cut a blunt protest single and released it fast. The BBC banned it across radio and TV almost immediately, framing it as too political for broadcast. That ban turned the record into contraband curiosity. People argued about the message, the timing, and whether pop stars should take sides. But the track did what protest music is supposed to do: force a conversation, carry a point of view, and put stakes on the line. It's a snapshot of a moment when a Beatle used his platform and the establishment pushed back, hard. Question: should broadcasters block overtly political singles, or does that censorship give them even more power? A debut single with a title taken from Albert Camus' The Stranger was never going to slip by unnoticed. Robert Smith wrote from the book's perspective, but context and perception are fickle. Misreadings followed the band for years, and during the 1991 Gulf War, the BBC put the song on a "don't play," avoid list, worried about how it would be received. The Cure kept stressing the literary origin, issuing disclaimers and alternate wording in later performances. What lingers is the tension between intent and impact. A stark, minimal post-punk piece that keeps raising the same thorny question. Can a work's meaning survive its most provocative line? Question: when art cites literature but the title offends, should stations judge intent or audience reaction? A global hit with a children's choir chanting, "We don't need no education," was never just a hook. It was a rallying cry. In 1980, after students in apartheid South Africa adopted it for protests, the government banned the track. A pop single had crossed from radio to street politics, and the state tried to shut it down. The irony is sharp. A song about resisting dehumanizing systems became a tool to resist a dehumanizing system. The band didn't erase it. It amplified its meaning. Decades later, that groove, lean, menacing, unforgettable, still feels like a classroom door being kicked open. Question: is this the most effective protest chorus ever to top the charts? Or does its power come from the moment it met?
Hey, Rocklore community. Before we continue, let's have a real talk for a second, bro. You know, this isn't just a channel to us. And I hope it's not just a place you come to watch a video and then forget about it. This is a community. It's a place where we get to dig up the secrets of rock and roll, share our favorite riffs, and celebrate the artists who maybe didn't get the love they deserved. Right now, only about 1% of our viewers are subscribed. We can change that together and grow this community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. When you do, you're not just helping a channel grow. You're becoming a member of the Rocklore family. You're signaling to us and to YouTube that these stories matter, that this music is worth preserving, and that this community is a place you want to be. Subscribing is your way of making sure you're always in the loop. It means you'll be the first to know when we unearth a forgotten legend, drop a new countdown, or dive into a piece of rock history you've never heard before. So if you're a true fan of the lore, if you get that same feeling of discovery that I do, then come join us. It takes 1 second to be a part of something bigger.
This wasn't just a single, it was a cultural thunderclap. Released during the Silver Jubilee, the Sex Pistols aimed a sneer at polite Britain and got a nationwide clampdown in return. The BBC refused to play it. Some chains refused to stock it. A riverboat performance on the Thames turned into headlines and arrests. And yet the song roared through the country anyway, lodged at the sharp end of the charts, and carved punk into public consciousness. The lasting lesson is simple. When power tries to silence a record that speaks to a generation, it usually only turns up the volume. Question: would God Save the Queen be as legendary without the ban, or did the ban make the myth? The journey doesn't end here, rock warrior. Watch this next. Think you know classic rock? Prove it. Beneath the greatest hits playlist is a secret map. Electric banjos in army cuts, homemade synths, guitarless psych labs, Tropicalia fuzz, and power pop blueprints hiding in plain sight. If names like the Monks, Silver Apples, the United States of America, Os Mutantes, the Nerves, the Creation don't ring a bell, you've been hearing echoes without meeting the source. Skip this and you'll keep missing the bands your favorite bands cribbed from. Tonight on Rock Lore, 20 forgotten 60s and 70s bands who deserved more love, each with one starter track, the 30-second backstory, and the one detail to listen for, so the music hits harder the first time you press play. 5 GIs in Germany shave their heads and weaponize rhythm. Brazilian pranksters turn TV jingles into psychedelic gold. St. Louis teenagers cut an Abbey Road gem that vanished for decades. Detroit brothers invent a lane punk would later claim. UK freak beat melts your speakers in 2.5 minutes, and a 2-minute power pop rocket that Blondie took to the bank. Hit subscribe to Rock Lore, tap the bell, and drop one obscure band plus one must-hear track for part 2. Headphones on, let's open the vault. This was what happens when a tough 60s bar band grows up and aims for timeless. The Flamin' Groovies started with raw R&B, but by the mid-70s they had sharpened everything into bright, ringing guitar music that would later be called power pop. Shake some action, feels simple on the surface. Steady drums, chiming guitars, a melody you can hum after one play. But listen closer and you hear careful craft. The guitars are layered so the chords shimmer without getting muddy. The vocal sounds urgent, but never forced. The hook returns exactly when you want it. Bands like Big Star were doing something similar across the country, and years later, early REM would chase this same jangle. If you think the 70s was only about big stadium rock, this song is proof that small, sharp songs were alive and well.
Hey, Rock Lore community. Before we continue, let's have a real talk for a second, bro. You know, this isn't just a channel to us. And I hope it's not just a place you come to watch a video and then forget about it. This is a community. It's a place where we get to dig up the secrets of rock and roll, share our favorite riffs, and celebrate the artists who maybe didn't get the love they deserved. Right now, only about 1% of our viewers are subscribed. We can change that together and grow this community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. When you do, you're not just helping a channel grow. You're becoming a member of the Rock Lore family. You're signaling to us and to YouTube that these stories matter, that this music is worth preserving, and that this community is a place you want to be. Subscribing is your way of making sure you're always in the loop. It means you'll be the first to know when we unearth a forgotten legend, drop a new countdown, or dive into a piece of rock history you've never heard before. So if you're a true fan of the lore, if you get that same feeling of discovery that I do, then come join us. It takes 1 second to be a part of something bigger.
Os Mutantes were part of Brazil's Tropicalia movement, where rock, folk, samba, TV jingles, and wild studio ideas crashed into each other on purpose. A Minha Menina is joyful and mischievous at the same time. You get a fuzz guitar that sounds like it's smiling, hand claps and percussion that bounce like a street party, and little production tricks that pop in and out like jokes. It's psychedelic, but it doesn't wander. It keeps the groove tight and the chorus front and center. You can hear why so many modern indie bands point back to them. The song is playful, fearless, and catchy without trying to be cool. It reminds you that experimentation doesn't have to be heavy. Sometimes it just needs to feel fun and new. Moby Grape had 5 members who could sing and 3 guitars that never got in each other's way. That's hard to pull off, and Omaha shows how they did it. The tempo is quick, the chords are bold, and the vocals ride the top with confidence. Instead of a long solo or a jam, everything is trimmed to the best parts. Punchy verses, a hook that hits fast, and guitar lines that answer the vocal like a second singer. In an era when some bands stretched songs to 10 minutes, Moby Grape proved you could be tight and still sound huge. They could move from rock to country to soul in one set. And this track is their sharpest blade. Short, bright, and built to last. The creations sound like a fuse being lit. The rhythm section hits hard, the vocal attacks each line, and the guitar uses feedback like a weapon, shaping noise into something catchy. This is British mod energy with art school nerve. The riff is direct and a little mean. The chorus lifts just enough to feel like release. Then the band slams back into the groove. The legend around the creation is full of wild touches, paint on guitars, bowed strings on the pickups. But the heart of Making Time is how tough and singable it is. If The Who gave you the itch for sharp, stylish rock, this track scratches it in 2.5 minutes. You hear later Britpunk and Britpop attitudes already forming right here. The Remains were a Boston garage band so tight they opened for the biggest acts of the day, yet they never broke wide on radio. Don't Look Back explains why fans never forgot them.
People got some strange ideas on how life should be lived and things should be done. But I'm here to say you got...
The drummer plays straight and strong, the guitars stab and ring, and the vocal stays cool while pushing the melody forward. There's no wasted motion, a quick intro, a verse that grabs, a chorus that lands clean, and a short instrumental burst that gets out before you blink.
And when they started their talking, remember just one thing.
It's the sound of a band that could walk into any club, plug in, and own the room by the second chorus. If you think garage rock means sloppy, this single proves the opposite. It's all precision and punch. This is power pop boiled down to its strongest parts. A bright guitar riff rings like a phone, the drums hit straight and clean, and the melody grabs you before the first minute is over. The trio keeps everything lean. No long intro, no solo, no extra verse, because the hook is the point. You can feel the urgency in how the chords jump and stop, like someone calling again and again and not getting through. Blondie's later version took it to the charts, but the spark starts here. A 2-minute lesson in how to write a song that sticks without shouting. Three brothers in Detroit built a sound that pointed toward punk while most of the world was still catching up. The guitar drives on fast downstrokes, the bass locks to the kick drum, and the vocal cuts straight through with plain, sharp lines. There's no pose here, just honesty and speed. The arrangement keeps the pressure on. Quick breaks, a riff that returns like a siren, and a chorus that feels like a warning. Hearing it now is like finding a road that should have been on every map. It reminds you that big changes often start in small rooms.
To be blue,
A group of St. Louis teenagers flew to London and recorded at Abbey Road, and you can hear that warm room in every bar. Piano sits at the center, guitars glide around it, and the singing lifts at the exact moments you want it to.
It's a new thing to do, and I'm being quite sincere.
The chords step upward like a staircase. The middle section turns the light for a moment, and then brings you back to the main theme with a bigger smile. Nothing is rushed, nothing drags. It's careful 60s songcraft. Clear lines, clean arrangement, a melody that rises and lands as if it always existed. The fact that it stayed hidden for so long only adds to the charm. This is UK freak beat at full heat. Thick fuzz guitar, tight snare cracks, and a chant-like chorus that feels built for a sweaty club. The band wastes no time. The riff hits, the vocal jumps in, and the whole track moves forward like a short fuse burning. You get a quick drop, the band slams back, and the guitars smear across the beat in a way that feels a little dangerous. It's loud but focused, raw but not messy. If you want to hear the moment 60s psych started turning into 70s hard rock, this 2.5-minute blast is the bridge. Colorful on the surface, sharp underneath, the guitars chime like a bright morning, then flip to a fuzz edge without warning. Drums and bass make little stop-start moves that keep your ear awake, while the vocals stack into harmonies that seem to lift the ceiling. Between sections, the band slips in quick changes. Tiny rhythm shifts, a sudden horn color, a guitar figure that vanishes as soon as you notice it. It's playful, but the writing is tight and the performance is tough. Think of it as a postcard from London Psych, where the ink hasn't dried yet. Everything vivid, a little smudged and full of life. This song plays like a 3-minute movie. A 12-string guitar sparkles at the edges, while a small, eerie keyboard drifts in like fog. The story unfolds line by line. Names, places, a plane, a sense that something isn't right. And the melody moves like a camera shot, pulling you closer, then backing away. You're not hit with volume, you're held with detail. By the last verse, you feel as if you've lived through a short story. That's the magic here. Psychedelia that doesn't ramble, it focuses, turning a few sounds and a few images into a world you won't forget. This video is sponsored by the Lore Store on Amazon, your one-stop shop for music lovers across reggae, rock, pop, and hip-hop. We built it for real listeners who don't want to dig through 1,000 listings to find the right gear. Inside the Lore Store, you'll find 5 aisles. VIP, top, battle-tested essentials. Headphones, turntables, speakers, gig-safe earplugs, smart speakers. Reggae vibe, roots and lovers. Rock made easy, automatic decks, warm bookshelf speakers, vinyl care. Rock lore, classic rock must-haves, open back cans, simple amps, living room concert vibes. Pop lore, feel-good everyday setups, clean, clear speakers, easy streaming, nostalgia-friendly picks. Hip-hop must-haves, punchy bass without the muddle, closed-back headphones and living room systems that handle low-end, plus a rotating crate of old album vinyl if you're rebuilding a 60s, 90s collection. Every product page tells you who it's for, 3 pros, 1 con, and why we picked it. So you can choose with confidence. Flying soon? Check. VIP for noise canceling that tames plane roar. Mostly listening at home? Try open-back headphones that let live albums breathe. Want instant gratification vinyl? Our fully automatic turntable is 1 button from silence to music, and the record cleaning kit knocks down crackle so the bass tightens up. Headed to shows? Grab high-fidelity earplugs. Hands-free at home? Our smart speaker picks let you say, play 70s reggae or classic pop, and you're there. Deal alert. If you use the link in the description, you'll land on our curated picks with current best available Amazon pricing and active discounts where applicable. Prices change, so buy now to lock in today's deal. Tap the link in the description, pick your aisle, grab a favorite, and tell me which category you want me to build next. The Lore Store. Listen better, with gear that gets out of the way and lets the music live. At first, this sounds like a lullaby. The vocal is soft, the rhythm is steady, and the guitar sits like a heartbeat under the lines. Then the mood tilts.
Stars are in your eyes. I'll take a spaceship and
A strange tremble enters the chords. The voice stays calm but starts to feel distant, and the whole song becomes both pretty and unsettling at the same time. That tension is the point.
I won't hurt you, I won't hurt you, I won't hurt you.
It's Los Angeles psychedelia without the fireworks. No long solos, no wild noise. Instead, the band uses restraint to create mystery. The singer promises safety, yet the harmony says otherwise. You lean in to figure out which one to trust. Few tracks from the era do more with less, and that's why this one lingers after it ends. Here is the bright side of the 60s, delivered with serious skill. Three siblings stack their voices into clean, weightless harmonies, while the band under them moves with jazz smart chords and featherlight percussion. Everything sounds clear, like a window after rain. The melody floats, but the writing is tight. Little counter-melodies slip in and out. The bass walks just enough to keep things buoyant, and the arrangement leaves space so every part shines. It's often called soft pop, but nothing about it is lazy. The difficulty is hidden in how easy it feels. Play it next to heavier music from the same year, and you'll hear a different kind of power. Kindness, poise, and perfect pitch turning a simple image, kids with kites, into a small burst of joy. This is studio pop built like fine furniture. Producers Gary Usher and Kurt Buicher shape glowing vocals and Baroque touches, harpsichord flickers, orchestral swells, into a single that seems to rise with every section.
I stop myself from crying.
The verses are smooth, the pre-chorus leans forward, and then comes the surprise. A short, disorienting collage in the middle, where the floor briefly disappears. When the band returns, the last chorus feels bigger and more emotional because you've been through a storm to get there. It's a smart trick, used for feeling, not just for show. The Polish is obvious, but so is the heart. The record believes in the power of a perfectly timed key change and a human voice recorded up close. Glossy and daring can live in the same song, and this is the proof. Think of Sunlight arranged for voices. The Millennium were a full-on Sunshine Psych project with studio players who could do anything, but they used that skill to create warmth, not flash. The harmonies glide like one wide ribbon. The chords step upward in careful moves, giving the chorus a natural lift. Guitars and percussion sit exactly where they should, no crowding, no gaps, so the track feels wide without getting loud. You can sense the hours spent choosing the right notes rather than the most notes. It's the sound of confidence. The writers trust a clean melody and a steady tempo to carry feeling all by themselves. By the time the final refrain returns, everything fits so well that you might not notice how complex it actually is. That's great arranging, when the craft disappears and only the song remains. A band leaves California for London and returns with a sound that feels like liftoff. The guitar doesn't just play chords, it bends notes like a voice, sliding and crying in a way rock wasn't ready for. The pedal steel, usually a country tool, turns into a bright, singing blade. The rhythm section keeps the ground steady while the melody keeps climbing. higher and higher, like a rocket pushing through cloud. Nothing drags. Nothing wastes time. The drama comes from contrast. Hard downstrokes under a melody that refuses to stop rising. You can hear how close they are to something new. Part garage, part raga, part dream. It's the kind of single that makes you want to flip it and play it again, just to confirm what you heard the first time. If you've ever wanted proof that the 60s still had uncharted corners, this is it. Here's the bridge between mod soul grit and luminous psychedelia. The action play with the cool confidence of a great R&B band. Tight drums, bass in the pocket, guitar that jangles rather than shouts. Then the harmonies arrive, and the whole picture brightens. The chords open like a window. Small rhythm shifts keep your ear awake. A clipped guitar figure here, a quick drum fill there, then space for the voices to rise together and fall back to earth. Nothing is oversized. That's the charm. The song glows because the parts respect each other. You can feel a group moving from dance floor heat toward a more colorful world without losing the beat that made them dangerous in the first place. Brain sounds like a thought turning into a feeling in real time. Imagine a rock band with no guitars. Instead, you get early synth tones, ring modulators, tape splices, and a cool lead vocal that holds the center while the room changes shape around it. The intro plays like a carnival rolling in at night, snatches of marching rhythm, faraway calls, bits of melody sliding past like floats, until the downbeat lands and everything snaps into focus. The drums are dry and certain. The bass moves like a plot. Strange tones hover at the edges, not to show off, but to paint the air. The song works because the voice never panics. It guides you through the storm of sound with calm phrasing and clear melody. When it ends, you remember the tune and the space it created. The studio isn't just a place to record, it's the instrument. This track makes that truth feel simple. Two people, a drum kit, and a nest of homemade oscillators create a pulse that still feels modern. The beat is steady, like a train that never slows. Over it, the oscillators wobble and hum in long bending lines. The vocal sits on top, almost detached, repeating phrases until they become a trance. There are very few chord changes, and that's the point. Hypnosis comes from patience. The drummer plays with dancers' timing, small accents, crisp cymbal taps, so the loop never grows dull. The synth tones don't try to copy guitars. They behave like liquid, sliding between notes. Close your eyes and the track becomes a horizon line, constant, simple, and strangely emotional. If you've ever lost yourself in a minimal electronic groove, you're hearing a ripple that began right here.
Hey, Rocklore community. Before we continue, let's have a real talk for a second, bro. You know, this isn't just a channel to us. And I hope it's not just a place you come to watch a video and then forget about it. This is a community. It's a place where we get to dig up the secrets of rock and roll, share our favorite riffs, and celebrate the artists who maybe didn't get the love they deserved. Right now, only about 1% of our viewers are subscribed. We can change that together and grow this community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. When you do, you're not just helping a channel grow, you're becoming a member of the Rocklore family. You're signaling to us and to YouTube that these stories matter, that this music is worth preserving, and that this community is a place you want to be. Subscribing is your way of making sure you're always in the loop. It means you'll be the first to know when we unearth a forgotten legend, drop a new countdown, or dive into a piece of rock history you've never heard before. So if you're a true fan of the lore, if you get that same feeling of discovery that I do, Then come join us. It takes 1 second to be a part of something bigger.
Five American XGIs in Germany cut their hair into monk tonsures, plug an electric banjo into a fuzzbox, and strip rock down to the beat. The drums stomp like boots on a wooden floor. The bass hammers a short pattern until it feels like a spell. The guitar barks, not to impress, but to punch holes in the air. Then come the chants, short, mean, unforgettable. The song is almost all rhythm and attitude. That's why it hits so hard. Where other bands decorate, the monks subtract. Where others smooth edges, they sharpen them. It sounds like a dare. How little can we play and still make the room explode? The answer is very little, if every stroke counts. Decades before punk had a rule book, this is the spirit. Direct, confrontational, impossible to ignore. Play it next to anything from the same year, and you'll hear the future walking in. The journey doesn't end here, rock warrior. Watch this next. What if I told you one single year rewired rock music forever? 1971. The year FM radio went widescreen, when a 7-minute anthem that never even hit the Hot 100 became the most requested track on the dial. When a folk poet wrote a piano prayer the whole world could sing. When prog found its groove, glam found its swagger, and a Latin jam shook stadiums. Tonight we count down the 15 rock songs from 1971 you simply don't forget. From CCR's Highway Grit to Sabbath's Quake, from Roundabout to Riders on the Storm, from Maggie May to the staircase every guitarist tries to climb. No filler, no repeats, just the records that built modern rock. If you love deep dives and true stories behind the riffs, you're in the right place. This is Rock Lore. Subscribe, and let's drop the needle. Number 15. If you want the sound of a band trying to outrun the storm, this is it. Sweet Hitchhiker is CCR near the end of their run. Short, fast, and built on John Fogerty's turbocharged guitar chug. There's no long build here, just 2 minutes and change of pure highway energy. It's the kind of record that feels like a live take. Tight drums, lean bass line, riff that grabs your collar. What makes it hit harder is the timing. By mid-1971, the cracks inside Creedence were getting wider. This single arrives like one last burst of unity before the breakup drama swallows the group. It also became their final US top 10 hit, peaking at number 6, proof that even on the way out, these guys could still light up the dial. Have you ever had a song feel like a time capsule from a band's final fighting moment? Which CCR cut screams Last Stand to you?
Hey, Rock Lore community. Before we continue, let's have a real talk for a second, bro. You know, this isn't just a channel to us. And I hope it's not just a place you come to watch a video and then forget about it. This is a community. It's a place where we get to dig up the secrets of rock and roll, share our favorite riffs, and celebrate the artists who maybe didn't get the love they deserved. Right now, only about 1% of our viewers are subscribed. We can change that together and grow this community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. When you do, you're not just helping a channel grow. You're becoming a member of the Rock Lore family. You're signaling to us and to YouTube that these stories matter, that this music is worth preserving, and that this community is a place you want to be. Subscribing is your way of making sure you're always in the loop. It means you'll be the first to know when we unearth a forgotten legend, drop a new countdown, or dive into a piece of rock history you've never heard before. So if you're a true fan of the lore, if you get that same feeling of discovery that I do, then come join us. It takes 1 second to be a part of something bigger.
Now that I've lost everything to you, say you want to start something.
Heaviness, a 4-minute invitation to hope. Peace Train rides on a simple acoustic groove, hand claps, and a melody that sticks with you all day.
It's hard to get by just upon a smile.
Cat Stevens sings like someone who believes the world can be kinder. And in that year, Vietnam still raging, campuses still tense, that message didn't feel soft. It felt brave. The production is clean but warm, courtesy of Paul Samuel Smith, with strings that lift the chorus without smothering it.
And it's hard to get by just upon a smile.
The result? A crossover hit that climbed to number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100 and held number 1 on the adult contemporary chart for 3 weeks. Think about that. A straight-up peace anthem sharing radio space with the heaviest rock of the year. When was the last time you heard Peace Train in the wild? And did it change the mood of the room? If rock had a class on how to write a perfect melody, this would be lesson 1. Day after day sounds effortless. Those aching vocals from Pete Ham, the chiming guitars, and then the famous slide guitar duet, where Ham trades lines with George Harrison. It's not just a cameo. Harrison helped shape the track and the sound, and you can hear his touch in the guitar tone and the elegance of the arrangement. Listen closely for the piano. Leon Russell's rolling lines are the glue that keeps the whole thing glowing. This is power pop at its most adult, romantic, bittersweet, sung by a band that never quite got the safety net it deserved. The single reached number 4 in the US and became Badfinger's biggest hit, but it also hints at the deeper heartbreak that would shadow the band. Do you hear this as a love song or a goodbye? And which part floors you more, the vocal or that twin slide solo? Drop the needle and you're inside the Fillmore East, March 1971. The Almonds don't ease you in. They explode into Statesboro Blues, a blind Willie McTell tune reborn as a slide guitar masterclass. Duane Allman's opening lick is one of rock's great door knocks. Sharp, singing, perfectly in tune, even as the glass bottle on his finger screams across the strings. That bottle matters. Duane learned slide after hearing Taj Mahal's take on the song and started using a Coricidin medicine bottle to get that smooth vocal tone. On this cut, the band is a 6-headed engine. Greg's soulful voice and Hammond, Dickie Betts answering guitar lines, 2 drummers pushing the groove like a freight train. The performance is the mission statement for At Fillmore East, released that July. No overdubs, just fire. Tell me this, what's the single most exciting opening 10 seconds on any rock record you know? And does Statesboro Blues beat it? Turn off the lights and feel the floor shake. Sabbath's Children of the Grave is heavy for a reason, and not only because of the riff. Lyrically, it's a warning shot, a call to the young to push back against war and fear, continuing the anti-war thread they'd pulled on with War Pigs. Musically, it's the sound of Tony Iommi's down-tuned guitar, lowered to ease the pain from his injured fingertips, locking in with Geezer Butler's bass and Bill Ward's relentless drive. That detuned crunch gives the song its menacing heartbeat, a hypnotic chug that feels like marching boots in the dark. It's not just volume, it's design. Ozzy rides above it with a vocal that's both chant and alarm. Here's a question. When people say metal began here, do you think they're talking about the sound or the subject matter? Which matters more to you, the riff or the message? This is prog rock turning into a pop hit without losing its strange heart. It opens with Steve Howe's bright acoustic figure. Then the band slams into Chris Squire's elastic bass line and Bill Bruford's tricky drum accents. John Anderson sings images from a road trip. Mountains come out of the sky. But the story is really the sound. A band building a city from bass, keys, and harmony. Listen for Rick Wakeman's organ and synth breaks. They don't show off for long. They arrive, dazzle, and move the song forward. That's why it works. It first lived on the 1971 album Fragile. A shorter single edit soon pulled a huge audience into Prague. Question for you. Do you prefer the full album version with all the twists, or the tight single edit that hits the hook faster? A New York mambo classic reborn as West Coast Latin rock. The tune started with Tito Puente in the early 60s, but Santana's 1971 version made it a global groove. The recipe is simple and perfect. Greg Rowley's Hammond organ plays the piano montuno. Carlos Santana's guitar sings in long lyrical lines, and the rhythm team, congas, timbales, drum kit, turns the room into a dance floor. It's call and response without words. Guitar answers organ, organ answers percussion, and the beat never lets go. You can hear how easily this moved from clubs to stadiums. It's both tight and wide open. Engage with me. When this comes on, what locks you in first? The organ riff, the guitar tone, or the percussion? 23 minutes that feel like an ocean trip in slow motion. Echoes closes metal and points to the future Floyd would build on the dark side of the moon. It begins with a single ping, a treated piano tone that sounds like sonar in a deep sea. From there, voices, guitar, and keyboards drift and return, like currents pulling in different directions and meeting again. David Gilmour's guitar finds seagull cries by running a wah pedal backwards. Nick Mason and Roger Waters keep the pulse patient and steady. Richard Wright's keys color the sky above it all. The lyrics talk about connection, faces in the crowd recognizing each other. And that's what the music does too. It starts far apart and ends together. It's long, yes, but never lazy. Every section leads you somewhere. Your turn. Do you treat echoes as a piece to sit with, start to finish, or do you jump to your favorite section? And which one is it? This video is sponsored by the Lore Store on Amazon, your one-stop shop for music lovers across reggae, rock, pop, and hip-hop. We built it for real listeners who don't want to dig through 1,000 listings to find the right gear. Inside the Lore Store, you'll find 5 aisles. VIP, top, battle-tested essentials. Headphones, turntables, speakers, gig-safe earplugs, smart speakers. Reggae vibe, roots and lovers. Rock made easy, automatic decks, warm bookshelf speakers, vinyl care. Rock lore, classic rock must-haves, open back cans, simple amps, living room concert vibes. Pop lore, feel-good everyday setups, clean, clear speakers, easy streaming, nostalgia-friendly picks. Hip-hop must-haves, punchy bass without the muddle, closed-back headphones and living room systems that handle low end, plus a rotating crate of old album vinyl if you're rebuilding a 60s, 90s collection. Every product page tells you who it's for, 3 pros, 1 con, and why we picked it. So you can choose with confidence. Flying soon? Check. VIP for noise canceling that tames plane roar. Mostly listening at home? Try open-back headphones that let live albums breathe. Want instant gratification vinyl? Our fully automatic turntable is 1 button from silence to music, and the record cleaning kit knocks down crackle so the bass tightens up. Headed to shows? Grab high-fidelity earplugs, hands-free at home. Our smart speaker picks let you say, play 70s reggae or classic pop, and you're there. Deal alert. If you use the link in the description, you'll land on our curated picks with current best available Amazon pricing and active discounts where applicable. Prices change, so buy now to lock in today's deal. Tap the link in the description, pick your aisle, grab a favorite, and tell me which category you want me to build next. The Lore Store. Listen better, with gear that gets out of the way and lets the music live. This is glam rock's walk down the street, hips first. Mark Bolan doesn't push, he glides. The guitars are fuzzy but soft around the edges. Tony Visconti's production floats the groove. and the hand claps make the whole thing feel like a party you just walked into.
In the shoes and the stockings, you and me wild out, yeah.
There are slide details everywhere, backing vocals that wink, a sax break that struts, and a chorus that lands on the word gong, like a grin.
I can call, you got a hubcap, diamond star halo.
It topped the UK charts in 1971 and later crossed the Atlantic under a retitled banner. But the magic is the same. Effortless swagger that never turns mean. Question: when you think glam, is this the song in your head? Or does another track define the look and the feel better? A storm you can hear and a story you can't quite escape. The last single released with Jim Morrison still alive, it rolls in on rain and thunder. Then Ray Manzarek's Rhodes piano starts that watery shimmer.
Love your man. You gotta love your man.
The groove is jazz smooth. John Densmore on drums, Robbie Krieger on guitar, tracing those late-night lines. And Morrison sings in a calm voice that makes the danger feel closer. The lyric carries a traveler, a highway, and a killer on the road. The whisper track under Jim's vocal makes it sound like a ghost is following you.
But I need a hands-on life will never rest. Gotta love your man.
It's the sound of the Los Angeles night. Beautiful, empty, a little afraid. Tell me, do you hear this more as a noir film in sound or as a road poem? And when do you play it most, sunset or after midnight?
Imagine all the people.
A simple piano, a soft voice, a song that asked the world to picture something kinder. Imagine, is Lennon taking the raw honesty of his earlier solo work and shaping it into a melody everyone could carry. The chords are plain, the tempo is unhurried, and the message is direct on purpose. You can hear the room in the recording, the slight echo of a real piano in a real house, because this wasn't built to sound like a polished dream. It was meant to feel close. Yoko Ono's ideas about imagination and peace flow through the lyric, and Phil Spector's light touch with strings keeps the song floating instead of swelling.
It isn't hard to do.
What gives it lasting power is the mix of courage and calm. It doesn't shout at you, it invites you. Half a century later, people still use it as a shared language at vigils, ceremonies, and tender moments they can't quite explain. When you hear it now, do you feel it as a protest, a prayer, or both? And what single line lands hardest for you?
You stole my heart, and that's what really hurts.
One of rock's happiest accidents. Maggie May started life as a B-side until DJs flipped the single and listeners wouldn't let go. The story is simple. A young man, an older lover, a summer that goes too far. And Rod Stewart sings it like a confession told after midnight. The acoustic guitars jangle and push. The bass walks with purpose. And that mandolin solo near the end turns the whole track into a bittersweet postcard you can hold in your hand.
Maggie, I couldn't have tried anymore.
It's not a perfect hero's tale. He knows he's being used, and he knows he'll miss her anyway. That's why the song sticks. It sounds like memory, sunlit, messy, honest.
Make my bed, and in the morning kick me in the head.
It also changed Stewart's life, launching him from a respected singer into a global star, and making the album Every Picture Tells a Story, a statement, not just a record. What detail pulls you in most? The story, the rhythm, or the mandolin? And do you hear it as a coming-of-age win or a hard lesson learned? 8.5 minutes of hard truth dressed as a victory march. Pete Townshend wrote it out of frustration. Revolutions that promise everything and then just repaint the same old walls. The music makes that point with drama and detail. A pulsing synth pattern like a machine that never stops, power chords that hammer the beat into the ground, and Keith Moon's drums exploding around the pulse without ever losing it. Roger Daltrey's voice is the fuse and the blast. His long scream before the final chorus isn't just a rock move, it's the sound of a generation burning off its illusions. Live, it was the closer for a reason. Nobody wants to follow that. The song doesn't kill hope, it argues for clear eyes. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss, is less a punchline than a guardrail. When you hear it, do you feel fired up to fight smarter? Or just wary of being used again? And does Daltrey's scream still give you chills? A riff that never loosens its jaw. Brown Sugar kicks open sticky fingers with a guitar figure you recognize in 1 second and a groove that could run for hours. The band tracked the bones of it down south before the album came out, and you can hear the swagger of a group at full tilt. Charlie Watts holding steady, Keith Richards and Mick Taylor snapping those guitars like whips, and Bobby Keys' tenor sax taking a star turn with a solo that sounds both nasty and joyful. The lyric is wild and messy, pushing into taboo subjects with a wink that doesn't let you get comfortable. That tension, danger in the words, delight in the music, is the Stones' whole trick. It's shot to #1 and has opened more sets than most bands have songs. What hooks you first? The opening riff, the drum feel, or the sax? And do you think the song's controversy adds to its power or holds it back today?
Hey, Rocklore community. Before we continue, let's have a real talk for a second, bro. You know, this isn't just a channel to us. And I hope it's not just a place you come to watch a video and then forget about it. This is a community. It's a place where we get to dig up the secrets of rock and roll, share our favorite riffs, and celebrate the artists who maybe didn't get the love they deserved. Right now, only about 1% of our viewers are subscribed. We can change that together and grow this community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. When you do, you're not just helping a channel grow, you're becoming a member of the Rocklore family. You're signaling to us and to YouTube that these stories matter, that this music is worth preserving, and that this community is a place you want to be. Subscribing is your way of making sure you're always in the loop. It means you'll be the first to know when we unearth a forgotten legend, drop a new countdown, or dive into a piece of rock history you've never heard before. So if you're a true fan of the lore, if you get that same feeling of discovery that I do, then come join us. It takes 1 second to be a part of something bigger.
In a tree by the brook, there's a songbird.
A song built like a staircase you actually climb. It begins in a quiet room with a 12-string guitar and recorders tracing a folk melody. Robert Plant sings in riddles that feel like a myth you almost remember. Then the steps get steeper. The drums enter, the bass thickens, the electric guitars start to glow, and the tempo edges forward without you noticing. By the time the solo arrives, the whole band is a storm you want to stand in. John Bonham's drums don't just mark time, they lift the air. Jimmy Page's guitar answers Plant like a second narrator, and John Paul Jones fills the middle with lines that glue the song together. And then the final section, faster, harder, inevitable, lands with the line, "And she's buying a stairway to heaven." Now less a puzzle and more a promise. Every choice has a cost.
Of smoke through the trees, and the voices of those who...
It was never released as a US single, yet it became the most requested song on rock radio for years. That's how deeply it lived in people's heads. Where do you turn the volume up? The folk opening, the solo, or the final sprint? And do you remember the first time it really hit you? The journey doesn't end here, Rock Warrior. Watch this next. Not every legend nails the landing. In the 1970s, some of rock's biggest names took wild swings. Label pressure, disco fever, ill-timed experiments, and paid for it on the charts and in the reviews. Tonight, we're counting down the top 15 1970s rock misfires you forgot. Fact-checked, 1 pick per artist, no repeats. These aren't cheap shots. They're the risky pivots, flops, and left turns that show how fragile a great career can be. Stay for number 14, where a hard rock giant tries a reggae wink and splits the fan base. At number 12, a California institution stretches an old tune into an 11-minute disco detour. Number 11, a brass rock powerhouse chases the dance floor before hip-hop samples rescue the groove years later. At number 4, feedback becomes the whole album. Number 2 is a superstar's straight-up disco LP. And number 1, the so-called disco dead moment that became a scene staple anyway. By the end, you'll know why these mistakes happened and what they secretly got right. Question for you, which misfire do you secretly defend, and which one still makes you hit skip? Drop your pick, and let's roll 15 to 1.
They crammed me back into the car.
This wasn't the prophet on the mountaintop. It was Dylan stepping off the pedestal and walking into town in a disguise. After the 60s run, fans expected fire and vision. Instead, they got a double LP of covers, croons, and detours, stitched with a few live cuts and new songs that felt almost tossed off.
Well,
The singing is mannered, the arrangements lean toward easy listening, and the track choices feel intentionally ordinary, like he's testing how much Bob Dylan is the myth versus the man. On release, critics pounced. The famous "What is this?" reaction stuck for years.
the judge had the papers in his right hand. 41 days.
But listen closely. You hear a star undercutting expectations, exploring comfort after a decade of heat. Misfire? As a statement to a hungry audience, yes. As a pivot away from being a spokesman, it's fascinating. Do you hear self-portrait as Dylan hiding, or reclaiming the right to be casual after changing the world?
Hey, Rocklore community. Before we continue, let's have a real talk for a second, bro. You know, this isn't just a channel to us. And I hope it's not just a place you come to watch a video and then forget about it. This is a community. It's a place where we get to dig up the secrets of rock and roll, share our favorite riffs, and celebrate the artists who maybe didn't get the love they deserved. Right now, only about 1% of our viewers are subscribed. We can change that together and grow this community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. When you do, you're not just helping a channel grow, you're becoming a member of the Rocklore family. You're signaling to us and to YouTube that these stories matter, that this music is worth preserving, and that this community is a place you want to be. Subscribing is your way of making sure you're always in the loop. It means you'll be the first to know when we unearth a forgotten legend, drop a new countdown, or dive into a piece of rock history you've never heard before. So if you're a true fan of the lore, if you get that same feeling of discovery that I do, then come join us. It takes 1 second to be a part of something bigger.
When I read the words that it told me, it made me sad, sad, sad.
A pun in the title, a reggae sway in the groove, and a band best known for thunder trying on a grin. Dear Maker was Zeppelin's cheeky experiment, a doo-wop reggae hybrid with hand claps, a springy bass, and Robert Plant's playful yelps.
I love you. Oh, baby, I love you. Oh, darling, please don't go.
Some fans loved the curveball, others heard it as a novelty that didn't fit the band's myth. Even inside Zepp, there wasn't total consensus on the feel. On US radio though, the thing stuck, proof that the band's swing could charm as well as crush. It's a misfire in the sense that it split the room and dated quickly next to their elemental blues and epics.
Oh, baby, please don't go.
But it also showed you how loose they could be, how much humor hid inside the heaviness. When it comes on, do you smile at the bounce, or skip it to get back to the riffs and storm? Before Miss You made disco stones inevitable, Hot Stuff was the wobble on the way there. The band leans into a humid, mid-tempo funk, guitars scratching, clavinet and keys bubbling, the rhythm section rolling behind the beat. Jagger half sings, half teases, as if he's testing whether the floor will fill. It didn't land hard on the charts, and critics chalked it up as a trend chase. But the take is revealing. The Stones learning how to grease the groove without losing their slouch. You can hear Billy Preston color in the corners, and you can hear the lesson they'll perfect a couple of years later. How to make the club feel like a Stones room. Do you hear hot stuff as a wrong turn, or a rough draft for the disco rock masterpiece to come? Once a 2.5-minute soul pop tune from the Wild Honey era, now blown out into a 10-minute mirror ball marathon. Thumping 4 on the floor, strings, synth flashes, breakdowns, the whole late 70s toolkit. On paper, it's a savvy move. Adapt a strong melody for the dance floor and chase radio that had moved on. In practice, the remake asked a lot of listeners who came for harmonies, sunshine, and compact songcraft. The single edit charted but didn't change the narrative. The extended version became a curiosity fans still argue about.
I'll be there just as quick as I can. Here comes the day. Live with me all day long. Start changing faces.
What's compelling is the sincerity. They aren't winking. They really try to meet the moment, even if the suit doesn't fit quite right. If you could only keep one version forever, the 1967 soul pop cut or the 1979 disco overhaul, which plays in your house? Horn band meets dance floor in a long, slick city groove. Co-written by Chicago's drummer with a funk soul ringer, Street Player arrives with congas, hi-hats, synth stabs, and brass that punch in tight patterns. The hook is there, but the vibe is club first, chorus second. A tough sell to rock radio expecting power ballads and tidy singles. On release, it underperformed, and the parent album wore the backlash. Then time flipped the verdict. Producers sampled those horn hits and percussion in the 90s, turning the track into a secret backbone of dance music. Misfire on day one, source code a decade later. That's the weird life of records that are too early, too hybrid, or just out of place. When you spin Street Player, do you hear late 70s overreach or the raw materials of future club classics? A classic girl group ballad turned into a mirror for a band in trouble. Aerosmith's cover of the Shangri-La's 1964 hit lands near the end of the 70s, when the group is drifting. Drug burnout, money stress, friendships fraying. Listen to the track. It's heavy and humid, the guitars pulling long shadows across a simple melody. Steven Tyler leans into the drama, selling heartbreak with grit, but you can feel the room behind him, tense, unsure. Joe Perry exits the band during the wider album sessions, and that turbulence sits in the mix. On paper, this should have been a radio layup. Famous melody, famous voice. On the chart, it barely moves. The single sounds like a band trying to remember who they were while covering a song about remembering. That's why it stings. When you hear this, do you think underrated power move or good singer, wrong timing?
You tried. It's a trick to make you see why.
A beautiful song that almost nobody heard, at least not the first time. Bowie issues The Prettiest Star as a standalone single before he becomes Bowie. Mark Bolan plays the elegant, flamenco-tinged guitar figure. The arrangement is all candlelight and charm, but the world isn't ready, and the record sinks with only a few hundred sales. It's a misfire not because the tune is weak, but because the story isn't there yet. No Ziggy, no myth, no audience prepared to lean in. Bowie files the melody away, reshapes it, and 2 years later revives it on Aladdin Sane with a sharper edge.
To sing a song of when I loved.
In hindsight, The 1970 single is a sketch for a future self, the pop crooner he briefly was, the glam icon he was about to be. Do you prefer the gentle, early single with Bolan's guitar, or the later, glossier remake that finally finds its stride? A legendary name meets a record that doesn't sound like the band thinks it does. Through a mix of schedule pressure and studio choices, strings and choir parts are overdubbed when the group isn't around, sweetening that clashes with the Byrds' bone-deep sound. Jangle, space, voices in open air.
Last time he was home, he held her on his knee.
What you get is a tug-of-war between California Sky and Lounge Varnish. The songwriting isn't empty. There are glimpses of the band's old reach, but the mood is wrong for them. Critics hear the mismatch, fans drift. The album underperforms and becomes a symbol of a great brand running on fumes. The lesson is simple. Production can either frame a band or hide it. Here, it hides it. If you could remix Birdmaniacs, would you strip the strings back to the wood and wire, or keep some of the sheen and try to make the contrast work? This video is sponsored by the Lore Store on Amazon, your one-stop shop for music lovers across reggae, rock, pop, and hip-hop. We built it for real listeners who don't want to dig through 1,000 listings to find the right gear. Inside the Lore Store, you'll find 5 aisles. VIP, top, battle-tested essentials. Headphones, turntables, speakers, gig-safe earplugs, smart speakers. Reggae vibe, roots and lovers. Rock made easy, automatic decks, warm bookshelf speakers, vinyl care. Rock lore, classic rock must-haves, open back cans, simple amps, living room concert vibes. Pop lore, feel-good everyday setups, clean, clear speakers, easy streaming, nostalgia-friendly picks. Hip-hop must-haves, punchy bass without the muddle, closed-back headphones and living room systems that handle low end, plus a rotating crate of old album vinyl if you're rebuilding a 60s, 90s collection. Every product page tells you who it's for, 3 pros, 1 con, and why we picked it. So you can choose with confidence. Flying soon? Check. VIP for noise canceling that tames plane roar. Mostly listening at home? Try open-back headphones that let live albums breathe. Want instant gratification vinyl? Our fully automatic turntable is 1 button from silence to music, and the record cleaning kit knocks down crackle so the bass tightens up. Headed to shows? Grab high-fidelity earplugs, hands-free at home. Our smart speaker picks let you say, play 70s reggae or classic pop, and you're there. Deal alert! If you use the link in the description, you'll land on our curated picks with current best available Amazon pricing and active discounts where applicable. Prices change, so buy now to lock in today's deal. Tap the link in the description, pick your aisle, grab a favorite, and tell me which category you want me to build next. The Lore Store. Listen better, with gear that gets out of the way and lets the music live. What happens after the frontman who defined your sound is gone? The Doors try to answer that twice. And this second post-Morrison album shows both bravery and drift. Ray Manzarek and Robbie Krieger take more vocal space, and the band swerves into funk, jazz, and even a playful novelty hit in waiting, The Mosquito. You can admire the risk. They refuse to become a museum of their own organ and darkness past, but the record doesn't cohere. The parts feel like experiments stacked next to each other, rather than a vision pulling forward. A minor chart showing confirms what the ears say. The Doors, as a feeling, were still there, but the identity had slipped out the side door. Do you judge Full Circle on its own terms, as a curious post-gym jam session? Or against the myth that made the name impossible to carry? A platinum problem. On the surface, Tormato wins. Top 10 in the UK, big US sales, classic lineup intact. Inside the speakers, fans hear something brittle. compressed sonics, arrangements that feel crowded, the sense of a band caught between stadium expectation and studio indecision. And yet, the songs want to soar. Don't Kill the Whale. Release, Release. The furious bass and drum engine of On the Silent Wings of Freedom. You can feel how close they are to liftoff. You can also feel the weight tied to the plane. The cover joke, a tomato splattered on a Roger Dean photo, became a symbol. World-class players throwing produce at themselves. Call it a misfire with good bones. The kind of record where a different mix and two braver edits might have changed the verdict. If you're the producer for one day, what's your fix? Thin out the layers, push the rhythm section forward, or cut two tracks to let the best ideas breathe? A band that invented heavy metal trying to outrun gravity. By '78, Sabbath had been fighting fatigue, habits, and each other for years. Never Say Die sounds like four great players pulling in slightly different directions. Bright, brisk tempos, cleaner production than their early doom, flashes of old power that don't always lock together. The title track punches with optimism, but the mood underneath is frayed. Junior's eyes aches, a hard road tries to square the circle between toughness and radio shine. On tour, younger bands were nipping at their heels, and the chemistry that once felt unbreakable was now fragile. The misfire isn't that the band forgot how to play, it's that the glue between them was thinning. You can hear an ending, and the need for a reset that would arrive with a new singer the next year. If you had to save one track from this era to play for a newcomer, is it the title cut, or a deeper pick that still carries the old weight? A dare pressed to vinyl. No drums, no chorus, just layered guitar feedback, overtones, and a locked groove that refuses to stop. At the time, people treated it like a prank or a contract fight. Stores returned it. Some fans felt tricked. But listen with modern ears and you hear something else. A map for noise, drone, and the idea that a rock star could release a piece of sound art without apology. It is not fun in the usual sense. It's endurance, texture, and confrontation, and that is its point. As a rock album, it fails because it rejects the bargain. No songs. As a statement, it's brutally honest about limits, of audience patience, of industry tolerance, of what happens when an artist follows an idea to the edge. Have you ever listened start to finish? If yes, what moment, if any, made you feel calm instead of attacked? Sunlight where fans expected storm clouds. Recorded quickly in the Bahamas, packaged with a cheery cover that fit the title a little too well, Love Beach arrived as prog's golden age was fading. Side A reaches for compact pop-leaning songs, tidy, glossy, controlled.
As soon as I saw them in slacks and white shoes, I threw away the albums and moved on to Pink Floyd.
Side B offers the long-form suite, Memoirs of an Officer and a Gentleman, trying to keep faith with the band's grand designs. What's missing is the risk and strange beauty that once made ELP feel dangerous. You can hear top-shelf players delivering parts rather than chasing moments.
Well, there's ELP on top of the pops too. I don't know about you, as soon as I saw them in slacks and white...
For listeners who met ELP through roaring suites and daring dynamics, this felt like a postcard from a vacation they didn't want to take. The irony, underneath the tan, the craftsmanship remains. You just have to forgive the framing to find it. If you could re-edit Love Beach, would you double down on the long suite? Or strip side A back into something raw and weirder? A superstar steps onto a dance floor that's already crowded. Victim of Love is Elton's straight-ahead disco record. Sleek tempos, extended grooves, and almost none of the piano personality that defined his 1970s run. It's concise, highly produced, and designed for clubs more than concerts. The problem wasn't just timing, it was identity. The album hides the qualities people came to Elton for: confession, melody curves, that conversational piano voice. Without them, you're left with professional sheen and very little soul connection. In the generous read, it's an experiment that didn't match the singer. In the harsher one, it's a brand stamped on someone else's blueprint. Either way, it's the moment that proves even giants can get lost when they chase a moment instead of shaping it. Imagine this with Elton's piano and a warmer band feel. Would the songs work for you, or is the concept itself the roadblock?
Hey, Rocklore community. Before we continue, let's have a real talk for a second, bro. You know, this isn't just a channel to us. And I hope it's not just a place you come to watch a video and then forget about it. This is a community. It's a place where we get to dig up the secrets of rock and roll, share our favorite riffs, and celebrate the artists who maybe didn't get the love they deserved. Right now, only about 1% of our viewers are subscribed. We can change that together and grow this community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. When you do, you're not just helping a channel grow, you're becoming a member of the Rocklore family. You're signaling to us and to YouTube that these stories matter, that this music is worth preserving, and that this community is a place you want to be. Subscribing is your way of making sure you're always in the loop. It means you'll be the first to know when we unearth a forgotten legend, drop a new countdown, or dive into a piece of rock history you've never heard before. So if you're a true fan of the lore, if you get that same feeling of discovery that I do, then come join us. It takes 1 second to be a part of something bigger.
The turning point that launched 1,000 jokes and 1,000 parking lot parties. Produced with a cleaner, radio-friendly touch, the album folds disco funk into the dead stew. The elastic title track, I Need a Miracle. New story songs like Stagger Lee, the slow burn of Fire on the Mountain. On release, some fans heard compromise. Too polished, too slick, not enough of the dusty road. But time did its work. Shakedown Street became both a groove and a place, the nickname for the carnival around dead shows, proof that a supposed misfire can become community DNA. The record still divides, studio dead versus live dead, Polish versus sprawl. Yet you can hear the band trying to translate their danceable side to tape, not just their drifts and jams. That impulse, however imperfectly captured, is why the songs lived longer than the reviews. Are you team Studio Sheen, hurts the vibe? Or team, these songs bloom on stage, so the album is a necessary sketchbook? The journey doesn't end here, Rock Warrior. Watch this next.
I lean back on my rail.
1972. Rock is changing by the week. Glam takes over the airwaves. Prog bends time. Country rock hits the highway. And one riff pulls the fire alarm on School Forever. Tonight we're counting down the top 15 rock songs of 1972 we'll never forget. Fact-checked, no repeats, pure impact. From Ziggy's first broadcast to the Stones' Dice Roll, from Join Together to Do It Again, these are the tracks that still hit like fresh thunder. Stay for number 3, a sticky behind-the-beat groove born in a French villa. Watch how number 2 ruled the UK for weeks with Glam Sugar. And number 1, the anthem that ends class, every summer, every year. Drop the needle, let's go 15-1.
Back, Jack, to then you love a little wild one, but she brings
1972 didn't just change what rock sounded like, it changed where it could go. Do It Again is the moment a brand new band walked in like seasoned studio sharks. The groove is patient, almost hypnotic. The percussion shuffles, the keys tick like a clock you can dance to, and Donald Fagen sings like a man watching life through dark glasses. It's a gambling song, a bad habit song, a you know better but you'll do it anyway song. The band's secret weapon is restraint. Every instrument leaves space for the next one to speak. Then the solos arrive, coiled, snaky, exotic, and the track blooms without ever raising its voice. This wasn't stadium rock, it was smart rock, adult, sly, and radio ready. You could hear in 3 minutes that Steely Dan cared about feel as much as fireworks. Question: when you first heard Do It Again, did the groove hook you first, or did the lyrics' cold, clever bite hit you harder?
Hey, Rocklore community. Before we continue, let's have a real talk for a second, bro. You know, this isn't just a channel to us. And I hope it's not just a place you come to watch a video and then forget about it. This is a community. It's a place where we get to dig up the secrets of rock and roll, share our favorite riffs, and celebrate the artists who maybe didn't get the love they deserved. Right now, only about 1% of our viewers are subscribed. We can change that together and grow this community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. When you do, you're not just helping a channel grow, you're becoming a member of the Rocklore family. You're signaling to us and to YouTube that these stories matter, that this music is worth preserving, and that this community is a place you want to be. Subscribing is your way of making sure you're always in the loop. It means you'll be the first to know when we unearth a forgotten legend, drop a new countdown, or dive into a piece of rock history you've never heard before. So if you're a true fan of the lore, if you get that same feeling of discovery that I do, then come join us. It takes 1 second to be a part of something bigger.
Take an old Irish folk ballad about love, betrayal, and revenge, then plug it straight into an amp. That's Thin Lizzy's Whiskey in the Jar. Phil Lynott sings with a storyteller's warmth, as if he's passing the tale across a bar table, while Eric Bell's guitar draws bright, Celtic-flavored melodies over a rock backbeat. The beauty here is balance. The band keeps the charm of the tradition, but gives it modern weight. Enough kick drum to rattle a pub window, enough melody to make a chorus feel timeless. This single turned a local legend into a cross-border hit and introduced the world to Lynott's gift for turning working-class drama into myth. It also showed how rock can travel. A song older than electricity sounded brand new once it met a cranked guitar. Question: do you prefer your Whiskey in the Jar sung like a fireside ballad, or blazing like Thin Lizzy's version with the lead line you can hum for days? If 1972 had a party upstairs, Slade were the ones stomping on the ceiling. Mama We're All Crazy Now is 2.5 minutes of glitter, sweat, and big boot energy. Noddy Holder's voice is sandpaper with a smile. Jim Lee's bass thumps like a barrel rolling downstairs, and the whole thing is built for 1,000 voices to shout together.
So come on, that's right, I said I fill up ATL's lab shoe.
Glam rock wasn't only clothes and makeup, it was attitude. Ordinary kids turning Friday night into a headline show. Slade understood that better than almost anyone. They wrote choruses to be shared, not admired. The spelling in the title, cheeky and wrong, tells you everything. This is music that breaks rules and still lands on the one.
You told me a fool fire water won't hurt me.
Underneath the noise is craft. Tight stops, punchy hand claps, guitars that slam and then get out of the way. It's chaos with a clipboard. What's the first line that makes you yell along? I don't want to drink my whiskey like you do. or that roaring title phrase exploding out of the verse. A band that looked like the future made a single that sounded like a magazine cover come to life. Virginia Plain is art rock in bright neon. Brian Ferry croons in stylish short bursts. Phil Manzanera's guitar snaps and flickers. Andy Mackay's sax cuts through like chrome. And Brian Eno decorates the whole thing with synth textures that wink and whirl.
We are flying down.
The lyric reads like a pop culture postcard. Names, places, images, moving as fast as a camera shutter. But the secret is that Roxy never lets the ideas outrun the song. The groove is steady and simple, a runway for the band's glamour and wit. This is the sound of a new kind of rock star. Clever, composed, and not afraid of the word design. In 3 compact minutes, Roxy Music turned the radio into a gallery wall and showed that style could be substance if the hooks landed. When Virginia Plain hits, do you hear the song as a perfect pop single first, or as a door opening to a whole Roxy universe? Progressive rock wasn't supposed to make great singles. Then, Roundabout did exactly that. On the album, it's a long journey. On the radio edit, it's a rocket. Chris Squire's bass grabs you from the first figure. Steve Howe threads acoustic sparkle into electric muscle. Bill Bruford plays with the kind of swing that makes complex time feel natural. Rick Wakeman's keys flash, then sing. John Anderson floats on top like a voice from a bright dream.
I will remember you.
What's impressive isn't just musicianship, it's momentum. The riffs shift and return. The chorus opens like a window, and even the tricky turns feel like fun, not homework. This is why the song lasts. It proves that ambition and joy can live in the same space. You don't need to count bars to feel the lift when the chorus lands, or to smile when that bass riff circles back one more time. Are you an album version devotee who wants the full trip, or a single edit fan who loves how it condenses all that invention into a perfect blast? This is the sound of a band kicking a door off its hinges. Rock and roll starts with John Bonham's sprinting drums, pure adrenaline, and never lets up. By most accounts, it was born from a fast studio jam at Headley Grange after another song stalled. Jimmy Page answers Bonham with sharp, blues-rooted riffs. John Paul Jones locks the groove like a steel beam. Robert Plant rides the top with a howl that remembers 50s rock while burning straight through 1972. Listen for the boogie-woogie piano tucked in there. Classic feel, played like a race car. The song is only a couple of minutes long, but it's a masterclass in momentum. No fat, no filler, just forward motion. It isn't heavy because it's loud. It's heavy because every part hits its mark. When did this track first grab you? Bonham's opening sprint, or that first riff that snaps the room to attention? A rock single about unity that actually sounds like unity. Joined together, stacks unusual textures, mouth harp, harmonica, clapping pulse, until the whole track feels like a street crowd moving in rhythm. Pete Townshend wrote it as community music, and you can hear that in the chant-like chorus and the open space where many voices can fit. Roger Daltrey doesn't just sing the hook, he invites you in. The magic is how the song keeps its swagger while staying friendly. No lectures, just a groove you want to step into. Underneath the chant is The Who's precision. Keith Moon pushes the beat without trampling it, and the arrangement leaves oxygen around every part. It's a rare single that works in a stadium and in a living room. What moment makes you sing along without thinking? The first join together call, or the mouth harp riff that wiggles under everything?
Well, I'm a standing on a corner in Winslow.
Sun on the Windshield, hands at 10 and 2. Take It Easy is country rock boiled down to its most welcoming parts. Bright guitars, warm harmonies, and a lyric that smiles through life's small breakdowns. The song began as Jackson Browne's notebook sketch and became the Eagles' perfect introduction. Glenn Frey's easy conversational lead and a tight band that understands space as much as sound.
Open up, I'm climbing in to take it easy.
The famous line about a corner in Winslow, Arizona paints a picture in 8 words. The shimmer of the guitars finishes it. What makes it stick isn't just melody, it's attitude. Calm under pressure, grace under sun.
Been looking for a lover who won't blow my cover. She's so hard.
The final lift, with that tasteful picking dancing around the voices, feels like a road opening in front of you. Where does this song place you? Cruising a desert highway at golden hour, or rolling into your own town feeling brand new? This video is sponsored by The Lore Store on Amazon, your one-stop shop for music lovers across reggae, rock, pop, and hip-hop. We built it for real listeners who don't want to dig through 1,000 listings to find the right gear. Inside The Lore Store, you'll find 5 aisles. VIP, top, battle-tested essentials. Headphones, turntables, speakers, gig-safe earplugs, smart speakers. Reggae vibe, roots and lovers. Rock made easy, automatic decks, warm bookshelf speakers, vinyl care. Rock lore, classic rock must-haves, open back cans, simple amps, living room concert vibes. Pop lore, feel-good everyday setups, clean, clear speakers, easy streaming, nostalgia-friendly picks. Hip-hop must-haves, punchy bass without the muddle, closed-back headphones and living room systems that handle low-end. Plus a rotating crate of old album vinyl if you're rebuilding a 60s, 90s collection. Every product page tells you who it's for, 3 pros, 1 con, and why we picked it. So you can choose with confidence. Flying soon? Check. VIP for noise canceling that tames plane roar. Mostly listening at home? Try open back headphones that let live albums breathe. Want instant gratification vinyl? Our fully automatic turntable is 1 button from silence to music. And the record cleaning kit knocks down crackle so the bass tightens up. Headed to shows? Grab high-fidelity earplugs. Hands-free at home? Our smart speaker picks let you say, play 70s reggae or classic pop, and you're there. Deal alert. If you use the link in the description, you'll land on our curated picks with current best available Amazon pricing and active discounts where applicable. Prices change, so buy now to lock in today's deal. Tap the link in the description, pick your aisle, grab a favorite, and tell me which category you want me to build next. The Lore Store. Listen better, with gear that gets out of the way and lets the music live.
Searching for gold or a heart.
A quiet song that conquered loud airwaves. Heart of Gold is spare on purpose. Acoustic strum, steady pulse, harmonica lines that feel like a second voice. Neil Young was dealing with back trouble at the time, which pushed him toward acoustic performances. Out of that limitation came focus. The melody is simple enough for anyone to hum. The emotion is specific enough to feel personal. Listen for the details. The gentle pedal steel that sighs around the chorus. The supporting voices. You can hear how the harmonies soften the edges. The way the harmonica answers the lyric like a friend who understands.
That keeps me heart of gold, searching for a heart.
It became a #1 because it speaks softly and clearly. A promise to be better, sung without drama. That honesty is why it still feels close, even on a crowded playlist. Which line hits you the hardest? I want to live, I want to give. Or the chorus promise you've probably whispered to someone? A lifeline turned into an anthem. Mott, we're nearly done. Tired, broke, ready to split, when David Bowie handed them All the Young Dudes and produced the single. Ian Hunter sings like a man who has finally found the right message for his people, a roll call for the outsiders who want to be seen. The descending guitar figure is simple and perfect. The chorus opens like a door. The backing vocals feel like arms over shoulders. This is glam with a beating heart, style-serving community. You can hear the band stand taller as the song goes on, like a crowd swelling behind them. The brilliance is how the lyric mixes everyday images with big hope, and how the arrangement gives each line room to land. It didn't just save a band, it gave a generation a banner to walk under. When you sing that chorus, who are you singing it for? Your teenage self, your crew now, or the next kid who needs to hear it?
That was hazy cosmic jive.
A broadcast from a different planet that somehow felt like home. Starman isn't just a song, it's a message beamed into a living room. Bowie writes like a storyteller and a futurist, verses that feel private, then a chorus that opens the sky.
There's a starman waiting in the sky.
The harmony lift on There's a Starman Waiting in the Sky is pure electricity, simple chords, huge emotion. Under the glitter is careful craft, the acoustic strum that keeps everything grounded, the hand claps and strings that rise at just the right moment, the melody that anyone can sing after hearing it once.
Oh, hey, that's far out, so you heard him too.
And then there's the culture shock. Ziggy arriving on TV, cool as neon, telling kids it was okay to be different. You could feel doors unlocking in real time. Did Starman first hit you as a beautiful pop song, or as permission to become your weirder, truer self?
Came from out on the island. In the back room, honey, she was everybody's.
Street poetry on a quiet pulse. Lou Reed takes 5 portraits from the Warhol scene and lays them over a bass line that slides like a subway train. The production is all about space, voice laid back and dry, drums barely there, acoustic guitar brushing time, sax closing the circle at the end.
Honey, you take a walk on the wild side, and the other girls go, and you hit the street. What? Looking for soul food and somebody to be.
Because the arrangement is so open, every detail matters. The backing vocals drifting in like city air, the bass answering the lyric like a second narrator. Reed isn't judging, he's witnessing. That's why the song lasts. It trusts the listener to meet these characters with curiosity and dignity.
I came and I hit the street. What? Looking for soul food and somebody.
It's also a lesson in how a gentle groove can carry heavy stories without turning them into lectures. When you hear it, do you focus on the characters in the verses, or on that hypnotic bass that makes the whole city feel like it's breathing?
And call me to turn back.
A groove that leans back and still moves you forward. Tumbling Dice is less about fireworks and more about feel. Drums just behind the beat, guitars weaving like threads in a worn denim jacket, piano splashing color around the edges, gospel-style backing voices lifting the chorus like Sunday sunshine.
I got no money. I'm 67.
The lyric is classic Stones, luck, risk, and charm. And the delivery makes it feel lived in, not posed. You can hear rooms in this record. Villa walls, late nights, humidity, tape rolling while the band chases the pocket. What makes it special isn't perfection. It's that sweet human looseness that makes the chorus feel inevitable every time it returns.
Baby, can't say you got your own crap shooter. Yeah, I can feel I was every night.
This is the sound of a band that knows exactly who they are and doesn't need to hurry to prove it. What grabs you first? The lazy loping drum feel, the guitar weave, or those soaring backing voices that turn the hook into a celebration?
She'll be wild, you know.
3 minutes of glam joy that arrives fully formed. Mark Bolan understood the power of the single. Big entrance, bigger chorus, no wasted motion. Metal Guru is hand claps, chime, and strut. Rock is sugar rush. The vocal is playful and mysterious, darting over orchestrated punches and a rhythm that bounces like a rubber ball. It's not about narrative, it's about sensation, pure color, pure momentum. And it's a masterclass in arrangement, stacked parts that never feel heavy, a melody that lands and lands again, production that glitters without getting brittle. If glam rock had a greeting card, this would be it. You're invited to feel fantastic for 180 seconds. Are you here for Boland's star power swagger? Or the way the arrangement turns a simple hook into a parade?
Hey, Rocklore community. Before we continue, let's have a real talk for a second, bro. You know, this isn't just a channel to us. And I hope it's not just a place you come to watch a video and then forget about it. This is a community. It's a place where we get to dig up the secrets of rock and roll, share our favorite riffs, and celebrate the artists who maybe didn't get the love they deserved. Right now, only about 1% of our viewers are subscribed. We can change that together and grow this community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. When you do, you're not just helping a channel grow, you're becoming a member of the Rocklore family. You're signaling to us and to YouTube that these stories matter, that this music is worth preserving, and that this community is a place you want to be. Subscribing is your way of making sure you're always in the loop. It means you'll be the first to know when we unearth a forgotten legend, drop a new countdown, or dive into a piece of rock history you've never heard before. So if you're a true fan of the lore, if you get that same feeling of discovery that I do, then come join us. It takes 1 second to be a part of something bigger.
The last bell that never stops ringing. School's Out is rebellion boiled to its essence. A riff that struts, a lyric every kid understands, and a performance that sounds like a match being struck in a crowded room. The band hits hard, but leaves air in the groove. The rhythm section walks like a gang down a hallway. The guitar hook is the handwriting you kept carving into notebook covers. Producer discipline keeps the madness musical. Tight stops, big releases, a chorus designed for fist-in-the-air unity. It's celebratory, not cruel, mischievous, not mean, and that's the secret. It makes freedom feel like a party you can invite everyone to. Decades later, the first bars still flip a switch in your brain marked summer. What's the exact second this becomes your anthem? The opening riff, the snarl on the title line, or the moment the whole band slams into the chorus like the doors bursting open? The journey doesn't end here, Rock Warrior. Watch this next. One riff, one chorus, one shot at immortality. The 1970s minted rock anthems that never left our heads. Then many of the bands vanished from the charts. You know the cowbell, you know the yodel, you know the summer night sing-along. But can you name who played them? Tonight we count down 15 70s rock one-hit wonders we'll never forget. Keep score in the comments. If you nail all 15 before number 1, you're a legend. Let's roll. Every decade has giants. The 70s also had ghosts. Songs you can sing in your sleep by bands you can't quite place. This episode is for the ghosts. FM staples, movie moments, prom slow dances, and road trip choruses. Each one a perfect strike. Stay to the end. The final chorus will take you straight back to the first time you heard it. Rules are simple. 1 decade, 1 hit, no repeats. Hit means top 40. You've heard these hooks in cars, bars, and ball games. Tonight we put names to the riffs, from glitter bright power pop to big engine hard rock. Call your guesses as we go. We'll pin the best score in the comments. Number 15 starts now. This is the sound of midnight on a highway. Windows cracked, neon sliding across the dashboard, and a beat that keeps the car in motion. Driver's seat is built on tension. a tight, steady drum pulse, a bass line that refuses to wander, and guitars that flicker like passing lights. Over the top, the vocal feels cool but restless, like someone trying to keep control while the world tugs at the wheel.
I'll never remember my time with you.
That mix, calm voice, nervous rhythm, gives the song its grip. It isn't loud, it's locked in. What makes it last is how carefully it was put together. Every part knows its lane. The drums drive, the bass anchors, the keys paint thin lines across the sky. The guitar hooks arrive when you need them and then get out of the way.
To the trick of the beat, it is melody.
By the time the chorus hits, you're not just listening, you're inside the track. It's a late-night anthem that never shouts and never stalls. Plenty of songs try to sound like motion. This one actually moves.
Hey, Rocklore community. Before we continue, let's have a real talk for a second, bro. You know, this isn't just a channel to us. And I hope it's not just a place you come to watch a video and then forget about it. This is a community. It's a place where we get to dig up the secrets of rock and roll, share our favorite riffs, and celebrate the artists who maybe didn't get the love they deserved. Right now, only about 1% of our viewers are subscribed. We can change that together and grow this community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. When you do, you're not just helping a channel grow, you're becoming a member of the Rocklore family. You're signaling to us and to YouTube that these stories matter, that this music is worth preserving, and that this community is a place you want to be. Subscribing is your way of making sure you're always in the loop. It means you'll be the first to know when we unearth a forgotten legend, drop a new countdown, or dive into a piece of rock history you've never heard before. So if you're a true fan of the lore, if you get that same feeling of discovery that I do, then come join us. It takes 1 second to be a part of something bigger.
Gotta be cruel to be kind, in the right measure, cruel to be kind.
Nick Lowe writes pop the way a master carpenter builds a table. Simple lines, no wasted moves, and everything stronger than it looks. Cruel to be Kind glides on a clean backbeat, bright guitars, and a melody that feels instantly familiar. The trick is in the attitude. The lyric is cheeky and a little bittersweet, but the delivery is warm.
My best to understand, dear, but you still mystify. And I want
Lowe smiles as he breaks bad news, and somehow you still want to dance with him. Under the hood, it's a lesson in balance. The rhythm section keeps a gentle sway, like classic soul filtered through pub rock. The guitars jangle without turning sharp.
to be kind, it's a very good sign. Cruel to be kind means that I live.
Harmonies lift the chorus just enough to stick, then slip back so the verses can breathe. It's power pop with manners, catchy, crisp, and built to last. The best part? It sounds effortless, which is the hardest thing to pull off. You leave the song humming, not because it pushed you, but because it invited you in.
And I can't let go.
This is soft rock with a quiet spell on it. The tempo is unhurried, the drums are brushed smooth, and the guitars shimmer like heat over asphalt. Then the vocal floats in, calm, a little dreamy, and the whole mix turns weightless. You can hear why people talk about the Fleetwood Mac aura around this track. Layered voices tucked like feathers into the chorus, guitars that gleam instead of grind, and production that lets the air between the instruments do part of the work. The song's power comes from restraint. Nothing is pushed.
But the feel is so still love that I don't.
The bass steps lightly. The chords open like curtains. The melody rides long vowels and easy glides. When the harmony stack leans into "with you," it feels like gravity changing. You don't blast magnet and steel. You live inside it for 3 minutes. It proves that a song doesn't need to be big to be huge. It just needs to be sure of itself. Black Betty hits like a bar band hammer. A 4 count, a guitar slash, and suddenly you're in the middle of a stomp. What began as an old work song becomes a hard rock surge. Booming kick, clapping snare, and a riff that's more shoulder than brain. It's simple by design, almost primitive, and that's the point.
Betty, bam-a-lam, whoa, back Betty, bam-a-lam, she really gets me high, bam-a-lam, you know that's...
The groove throws elbows. The chorus arrives in one breath. The whole track moves like a crowd down a narrow hallway. The tension around it has always been part of the story. Arguments over origins and meaning, debates about whether to play it or ban it. But the record's staying power lives in the performance. You can hear sweaty amps, steel strings snapping back, a singer pushing the room forward. It's not polite, and it's not trying to be. Rock sometimes needs a song that clears the table in 2 minutes and change. Black Betty does the job.
Crazy music playing in the morning.
From the first, oh ho ho, it's magic. You know exactly where you are. Pure daylight pop with a bit of glam sparkle. The groove is light on its feet, drums bouncing, bass singing little counter melodies, guitars strumming with a smile. Then the chorus lifts like a kite. It's the kind of hook that feels like you've known it forever, even if you're hearing it for the first time. Listen closer, and you'll hear why it holds up.
I love a sunny day.
The verses are lean, almost minimal, so the chorus can bloom. The rhythm is springy but never sloppy. Every hit lands in the pocket. The vocal stacks are bright but not sugary, and the production keeps everything clean as glass. There's craftsmanship everywhere, but it never gets in the way of the feeling. Magic reminds you that pop can be smart and simple at the same time, built with care, delivered with joy, and impossible not to sing along to. These 5 songs show how wide the 1970s really were. Night Drive Nerves, Wry Love Notes, Soft Focus Romance, Bar Stomp Thunder, and Radio Sunshine. Different lanes, same result. Choruses that stuck, grooves that carried, and records that outlived their moment. The first thing you notice is the feel. Easy, unhurried, a groove that walks into the room like it belongs there. Then comes Paul Carrack's voice, warm, steady, and honest. He doesn't push, he lets the melody do the lifting. How Long sounds like a love song at first, but the sting is different. The lyric came from a band problem, loyalty and side gigs, so the questions land with a real-life weight. That's why it works beyond romance. It's a song about trust. Musically, it's blue-eyed soul built with smart rock instincts. The bass steps forward with a memorable opening line, the drums sit in a deep pocket, and the electric piano glues everything together. Guitars color the edges without crowding the vocal. When the chorus opens, Carrack leans into long vowels and clean phrasing, and the whole track lifts a few inches off the floor. Nothing flashy, just parts that fit perfectly. Ace never returned to the US Top 40, which is why this record carries the one-hit tag. But the performance made Carrack a singer musicians remember. Later, he'd front other bands and cut more hits under different names. Here, though, the charm is simple: a tight band, a believable story, and a voice that makes hard truth sound graceful. Some songs exist to make a gray day bright. Wham Bam is one of those, a pop-rock sugar rush with just enough guitar grit to keep it from floating away. The tempo is brisk, the acoustic strum sparkles, and the drum groove snaps like a rubber band. The hook wastes no time, pure syllables as fireworks, and the backing vocals answer like a crowd already in on the joke. Listen closer and you hear LA studio craft behind the gloss. The verses are compact, the pre-chorus tightens the spring, and the chorus hits right on schedule. Electric fills dart between vocal lines but never steal the spotlight. That discipline, verses that move, a chorus that lands, and an exit that leaves you smiling, makes 3 minutes feel like 2.
So listen to me.
It's bubblegum with a rock backbone. Silver only touched the Hot 100 once, but this single keeps finding new ears because it understands how the body hears pop. Bright acoustic downstrokes, snare on the 2 and 4. A melody that goes up when your mood needs it. You don't need to know anything about the band to feel the lift. The record does exactly what it promises, right on time. Here the lights dim, the patio door slides open, and an electric piano rolls out a smile you can hear. The groove is a gentle shuffle, the bass keeps a soft sway, and the vocal invites everyone closer. Dancing in the Moonlight is laid back by design. It imagines a world where the night makes people kind. That spirit, to gather, to relax, to move without fear, sits at the center of the song. The production is light on its feet. Fender Rhodes and bass carry the weight. Guitars play small, friendly figures. Drums keep the pocket loose but precise. Nothing crowds the vocal. The chorus doesn't shout, it glows. You can put this on a campsite, a back porch, or a wedding, and it feels right in all three. It's the rare track that works as background and as a sing-along without changing anything. There's deeper story in the writing too. The lyric came from imagining warmth after a hard experience. Maybe that's why the song feels like a wish granted. It's escapism with a heartbeat. King Harvest didn't rack up more big US hits, but they didn't need to. They built one of pop's great safe spaces and left it open for everyone. This video is sponsored by the Lore Store on Amazon, your one-stop shop for music lovers across reggae, rock, pop, and hip-hop. We built it for real listeners who don't want to dig through 1,000 listings to find the right gear. Inside the Lore Store, you'll find 5 aisles. VIP, top, battle-tested essentials. Headphones, turntables, speakers, gig-safe earplugs, smart speakers. Reggae vibe, roots and lovers. Rock made easy, automatic decks, warm bookshelf speakers, vinyl care. Rock lore, classic rock must-haves, open back cans, simple amps, living room concert vibes. Pop lore, feel-good everyday setups, clean, clear speakers, easy streaming, nostalgia-friendly picks. Hip-hop must-haves, punchy bass without the muddle, closed-back headphones and living room systems that handle low-end, plus a rotating crate of old album vinyl if you're rebuilding a 60s, 90s collection. Every product page tells you who it's for, 3 pros, 1 con, and why we picked it. So you can choose with confidence. Flying soon? Check. VIP for noise canceling that tames plane roar. Mostly listening at home? Try open-back headphones that let live albums breathe. Want instant gratification vinyl? Our fully automatic turntable is 1 button from silence to music, and the record cleaning kit knocks down crackle so the bass tightens up. Headed to shows? Grab high-fidelity earplugs. Hands-free at home? Our smart speaker picks let you say, play 70s reggae or classic pop, and you're there. Deal alert. If you use the link in the description, you'll land on our curated picks with current best available Amazon pricing and active discounts where applicable. Prices change, so buy now to lock in today's deal. Tap the link in the description, pick your aisle, grab a favorite, and tell me which category you want me to build next. The Lore Store. Listen better, with gear that gets out of the way and lets the music live.
No, sir, the tears left me cold as a stone.
Elvin Bishop was a blues rock guitarist first, but the secret weapon on this record is the voice up front. Mickey Thomas, then a young singer in Bishop's band. Bishop knew the song needed a smoother tone than his own, and that choice turned a good tune into a classic. The band plays with a slow dance calm, clean electric guitars, patient drums, bass that rises and falls like breath. When Thomas enters, the vowel shapes melt across the bar lines, and the emotion lands without drama. This is a masterclass in arrangement. The verses leave space so the chorus can bloom. Guitar lines answer the vocal like a conversation, never competing, always supporting. Reverb is used like a soft frame, enough to glow, never enough to blur. The lyric tells a simple truth. Sometimes you swear you won't fall, and then you do. The performance honors that honesty by keeping everything measured and sincere. Bishop would be known on stage for big smiles and boogie, but here he and the band built a prom floor classic that outlived the moment. For many listeners, this was the one time his name hit high on pop radio. If you only get one swing at that bat, make it a slow-motion home run. He did. Southern rock loves a strut, and Jim Dandy comes swaggering through the door. It's a 1950s R&B tune, reborn as a bar band romp, cowbell knocking, guitars chopping, and the rhythm section pushing the room forward. Jim Dandy Mangrum plays the peacocking frontman, but the real twist is the duet. Ruby Starr's fearless voice slicing through the mix. Her lines don't just decorate, they drive, turning the call and response into a chase. The arrangement is gloriously lean. You can hear wood and wire, snare crack, pick scrape, the squeak of fingers shifting on strings. The chorus is built for crowds, easy to shout and easier to remember. It's not polite music, it's Saturday night music, a soundtrack for spilled beer and big grins. That's the charm. Not every classic needs poetry in the bridge. Sometimes you want riffs, winks, and a backbeat that doesn't take no for an answer. Black Oak, Arkansas brushed the pop charts this once and mostly lived on the road. Jim Dandy explains why. It's a performance you feel in your shoulders first and your head second. As one-hit wonders go, this is a snapshot of a scene. Loud amps, strong personalities, and an R&B root system feeding a southern rock trunk. One song, one statement. Plenty of miles left on the tires. This is what happens when a band turns a joke into a weapon. Hocus Pocus starts like a straight-ahead riff rocker, huge guitar tone, drums kicking doors open, then explodes into yodels, whistles, scattered syllables, flute flashes, and organ stabs. It should feel silly. Instead, it feels daring. The groove keeps returning like a magnet, and every wild detour lands right back on the one. Jan Ackerman's guitar plays the bulldozer. Thijs van Leer is the wild card, singer, flautist, organist, and yodeler in chief, piling color on top of power. The track is built in bursts: sprint, stop, show off, slam back in. That stop-start design is why it still works live and on radio. Your ear is always chasing the next hit. Under the circus tricks is serious craft. The riff is tight as a drumhead. The kick and snare pattern is a marching order, and the bass locks everything in place while the band throws fireworks overhead. Each break is a spotlight, a lightning guitar run, a drum flurry, a yodel vault that somehow doesn't break the spell. Prog often asks you to study. This one asks you to laugh and headbang at the same time. It's the rare instrumental with vocals where the words don't matter at all. The voice is another instrument, a burst of texture that makes the next riff hit harder. One record, equal parts muscle and mischief, and absolutely unforgettable.
The television man is crazy, Sam with juvenile delinquent rag.
A song can save a band. This one did. Mott were on fumes. Great live, unlucky on the charts, when David Bowie handed them All the Young Dudes and produced the session. The record moves at a royal walk, toms rolling like a parade, guitars chiming with glam sparkle, and Ian Hunter delivering the lyric like news from a new world. It isn't a preachy anthem. It's a street corner broadcast. The verses sketch out kids in boots and eyeliner, outsiders finding each other, turning boredom into style. The chorus, carry the news, sounds like a mission. Tell the rest of the city we're here. What makes it last isn't just the star power behind it, it's the tone. The song is proud but not stiff, dramatic but not heavy. The guitars don't crush, they glow.
And the Stones, we never got it off on that revolution stuff. What a dream.
Hunter's voice has grain and warmth, the kind that makes even a tossed-off aside feel important. And Bowie's fingerprints are everywhere. Arrangement space, stacked harmonies, a feel that turns swagger into community. Plenty of hits define a season. This one defined a posture. Chin up in eyes lined, guitars shining, future incoming. For Mott, it wasn't just a chart rescue. It was an identity locked in wax. Four sounds and you're in. The click of sticks, the most famous cowbell in hard rock, a slab of guitar like a falling wall, and a vocal that growls from the gut. Mississippi Queen wastes no time. Leslie West's tone is huge but clear. Thick mids, zero mess, and the riff moves like heavy machinery. Felix Papalardi's bass and production keep the center of the track wide and chest deep, while Corky Laying's drums stomp a straight road through the middle. This is hard rock boiled down to essentials. Riff, roar, repeat. The magic is in how little it needs. No big key changes, no complicated bridges. Just a perfect call and response between voice and guitar, with that cowbell counting you back into the blast zone every time. It's not pretending to be clever. It's proving that a good riff is a complete sentence. Bar bands still cover it because the physics never fail. The groove makes bodies move. The chorus lands at exactly the right height to shout along. And the whole thing feels like a victory lap that started the moment the count-off began.
Town of Chicago died, and they talk about it still.
A British group writes a movie in 3 minutes, sets it in an imagined Chicago, and somehow hits #1 in America. That's the odd charm of The Night Chicago Died. It's a pop rock news bulletin with siren-like strings, marching drums, and a narrator who sounds both scared and thrilled. Historically, the geography and details are fuzzy. Emotionally, the record is sharp.
I heard a pray the night Chicago died.
The verses build scene by scene, police radios, dark streets, worried families, until the chorus lifts into a cinematic shout. You can see the flashing lights even if the city map isn't quite right. Why did it work so well? Hooks, pacing, and theater. The arrangement rises and falls like a chase. The snare pushes the story forward, and the backing vocals widen the frame at every turn.
People song, brother, what I'd like the people song. Yes, indeed.
It's storytelling for radio. Big images, clean rhythm, and a payoff you can sing. Paper Lace didn't stack up more US top 40 hits, but this one keeps coming back because it captures what pop does best, turns fear into drama, and drama into a chorus you carry out of the room.
Hey, Rocklore community. Before we continue, let's have a real talk for a second, bro. You know, this isn't just a channel to us. And I hope it's not just a place you come to watch a video and then forget about it. This is a community. It's a place where we get to dig up the secrets of rock and roll, share our favorite riffs, and celebrate the artists who maybe didn't get the love they deserved. Right now, only about 1% of our viewers are subscribed. We can change that together and grow this community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. When you do, you're not just helping a channel grow. You're becoming a member of the Rocklore family. You're signaling to us and to YouTube that these stories matter, that this music is worth preserving, and that this community is a place you want to be. Subscribing is your way of making sure you're always in the loop. It means you'll be the first to know when we unearth a forgotten legend, drop a new countdown, or dive into a piece of rock history you've never heard before. So if you're a true fan of the lore, if you get that same feeling of discovery that I do, then come join us. It takes 1 second to be a part of something bigger.
Two songs welded together, a desperate guitar drama and a wordless piano prayer. Layla is first a sprint, twin guitars clawing for daylight, Eric Clapton pleading through his amp as much as through his mic, the band charging like there's no tomorrow. Then, suddenly, the floor drops into the coda, a slow, sunlit piano theme, famously credited to drummer Jim Gordon, with slide guitar lines floating above it like birds. One part is all pressure, the other is release. Put together, they feel like confession and forgiveness in back-to-back chapters. The story behind the music adds weight, unrequited love, a tangled circle of friends, players pushing themselves into the red, but the recording stands on its own. Duane Allman's slide answers Clapton's lines like a second voice. Tom Dowd's production keeps the heat without losing detail. The band plays with the urgency of a last chance.
Make the best of the situation. Before I find the glory.
When the coda arrives, time slows. The piano says what words can't, and the slide guitar paints light on top of it. That's why the 1972 single finally broke through at full length. You need both halves to understand the whole. Layla isn't just a hit. It's a map of how longing becomes sound, and how sometimes sound finds a way to peace. The journey doesn't end here, Rock Warrior. Watch this next.